And I think we're live. Nice. All right. Hello to anyone who is watching. We are doing this live stream. Just a quick introduction. My name's Anna. I'm the host of the Zero Knowledge podcast. I'm the co-creator of a project called ZK Hack. But for this event, I'm actually wearing my ZKV hat. So I'm one of the co-founders of ZK Validator, ZKV. You can find out everything about us over at zkv.xyz. Quick note of what we are, what we do. We are validators on numerous networks. We work on distributed systems. We love to champion ZK tech and work with ZK related projects, very much like this one, Mina, which we're here to talk about. I'm also, just a quick note, I'm an advisor to O1 Labs, and I have been for quite a while. So this launch of Berkeley, the Berkeley upgrade, has been an incredible feat, and I've been waiting for this, and I'm very excited that it's happened. Yeah. Do you want to say a couple words, Agni?
Yeah, hi, I'm Agni. I'm also from ZKV and many other projects that Anna is having under her hats. We're super excited to be here to help launch the Berkeley upgrade on Mina. And what we do at ZKV, we also do events like this to support the networks that we are working with. So we are very, very happy that Mina came to us to ask us to help with the Berkeley upgrade.
Very cool. So I think we were going to invite Evan and Brandon from O1 Labs and Evan from Mina Foundation. And Agni, I think we're going to see you later.
Good luck.
Cool. See you soon. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Good.
Yeah, good.
How are you feeling is really what I want to ask. After last week's upgrade, how are you feeling?
Very good.
Relief?
Yeah.
Excitement? Like what's the general feel?
For me, it's a lot of things, like relief at the launch going smoothly and being done. It's really good. Excitement at it being out, and also excited for like kind of the next body of work of building everything now on top of the hard work. So a few things at once.
Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah, for me, like I'm so proud of O1 Labs and of like the wider Mina community. I think like the upgrade executed super smoothly, which is like a happy surprise. I mean, we tried really hard for that to happen, and it did happen, and it was great. We heard from a lot of validators that given the magnitude of the upgrade, like it was just really, it's good. So that's good. It's sort of cathartic, I think. I don't know if that's the right way to use the word, but like we did so much work to get to this point, and then like it just worked so far. So that's good. And yeah, like Evan, I'm super excited for the future.
Very cool. So what we're going to be doing as part of this launch party and this sort of event is I'm going to be doing a very short interview with both Brandon and Evan, and then we're going to talk to a few of the community folks, and we're going to invite more people from the team at the end. But before we did that, I want to start with just a few of my own thoughts on this. As I mentioned, I've been a long time supporter of this project. I've been an advisor, and not just that. More recently, ZK Hack, another project that I'm part of, we do hackathons, and we've actually had a chance to see what people do with the O1 stack and what they can do on Mina. And that was always on testnet. So it was always like amazing examples and experiments, but still sort of in a not fully, mainnet way. But because I saw that excitement and energy with this upgrade, I'm just like, I can't wait to see what is going to be unleashed in terms of specifically like ZK applications using ZK. And this is really like the next generation of what all of the ZK community has been doing. Like the first part was all about the research. Actually, let's say this is the third part. So first part was all about the research. Second part was all about the implementing and the infra. And now we're getting into the application side of things. And I feel like the ONJS and Mina and the stack just opens it all up. So I'm so excited. As somebody who's been in the ZK space for a long time, this is monumental. And partly because of ZKV, where we actually we've been running a validator on Mina since the beginning. We were part of this upgrade from the other side, like going through the practice runs. And actually, it was one of the smoothest and nicest upgrades that we've had a chance to be part of, in part, especially for what like the size of this upgrade is. It's not just a small change. This is like a paradigm shift. And I think behind the scenes, the team has been so diligent to do those run-throughs and to like check all those possible edge cases that, at least from where we were sitting, it was incredibly smooth. Of course, I want to find out from you, Brandon, if there were other things happening on your side. but yeah, just my last thought is that there's a lot of ZK systems. Oh, sorry. There's a lot of ZK systems. I just got a call. Like on the horizon, and they're all, there's a lot of ZK systems that are presenting in different ways, but I think we can say that like Mina is the first that made it through. And so I hope I'm not offending any other teams out there by saying it, but I think it's the first time that we have like a ZK system hitting mainnet on a large scale, in a large scale way. So I do think this is just opening the door. So now I want to pass it back. I want to pass it over to you. Actually, first, let's start with you, Brandon, because I'm so curious behind the scenes. What was going on? Like for us, it was so smooth, but was it smooth for you, or was there any like glitches? Yeah.
I mean, over the whole process, it was not smooth. I would say. I mean, I guess like let's just focus on the so obviously a ton of work was involved in like building the thing, right? That's the first step. Actually, I guess the first step is designing the thing. So, design a way to have like this new kind of computing, I guess, using ZK at the core, where you unlock privacy and scalability and like all this cool stuff, which we'll get into. And then, so there's work on the core design, and then development starts on like the proof system and the protocol side and the SDK. And quickly we all, as you were saying, like got people playing with it and iterated and things like that. So, lots of work in just sort of the initial implementation. And then of course, well, I don't know, but for anyone on the call who's like familiar with blockchain development, when you add a feature, you break other things. So you go and fix those. So, like adding like such a big change, like it changes the way that the mempool works, the gossip network, like most of the systems. Consensus didn't change much. But other than that, like all the core components of the protocol changed a bit. Heavy testing. And then, then it's like one thing getting it to work. And then it's like, okay, well, it works in theory, but it's so slow that it's like unusable. It's like, okay, well, we have to speed it up a bit. And then you speed it up and then other things break. And then the test nets start. So then there's like, then there's some, early test nets. And we found more issues with performance and scalability. And at all these points, we're like, okay, God, we're so close. We're so close. We can launch it. We can launch it. And then like, we find a bug. And then the bug, the bug is like, oh shit, like the whole thing's messed up. We have to like rewrite all this code.
Yeah, I was going to say there was a bit of a soon TM phenomenon happening. Which is like, when is it coming? Soon.
I know.
Soon. Okay.
Like we learned our lesson, years ago, of like, sharing a date that we had thought too early. So we learned our lesson. But yeah, I mean, I think
but
all
you made it.
But we made it. And what makes me happy, well, maybe this is a bad thing to say, but I mean, I'm not too worried that it took a little bit longer than expected, because all the ZK projects
took a little bit longer than expected. Yeah. True.
Yeah. And then as you were saying, like we did so many so many test nets, and then like even in preparation to the hard fork, this is actually the first big hard fork on Mina's mainnet ever. So we did a lot of work to make sure that was going to be smooth, and then we did a lot of tests and a lot of experiments internally, like sort of cross the different core teams, like work developing on Mina, and then in the wider community. And also like fire drills. I don't know if people are like aware of this, but you have to prepare. Like, what if something goes wrong? We need to recover. So it's like you got to do all these contingency planning. And then I guess on the day of, it was really smooth. There was some, there was like little scares, but they were what are they called? False alarms. So
lucky. How long was the full upgrade time on your side? Like, from what point did everyone sit down to start this thing to when you felt like it was done and you could go to sleep probably?
So yeah, if you count the time, like if we're gonna start the timer at the moment that kind of like the software that people are running. So, I mean, really the timer starts ahead of time because you have to make sure people are upgrading, and that's like a whole thing to get to the version that can do the hard fork. But okay, if we start the timer there, basically we started like early morning Europe time and went until like night San Francisco. So it was a long day for a lot of people.
18-hour kind of situation ish, maybe.
Yeah, maybe something 20 on the order of that.
Yeah, and I guess you have teammates all over the world, so we're
spread out.
Probably, okay.
There were some people who were awake most of the time, but yeah. There's different core time zone hubs. So we had we distributed the work amongst like so many people in the core teams. Like, okay, at this minute, and this step, like do this and then hand it off to this person. And we tried to coordinate that so that people in the right time zones would be the most conscious,
Amazing.
So yeah,
cool.
And here we are.
Nice. Very nice. I want to ask Evan a few questions, and then I want to come back to you. But Evan, so I wanted to ask you, Evan, you're one of the co-founders, co-creators of this. It must be wild, because your journey, actually, I think both of you were there from the start, but I know that some of these ideas, maybe tell us a little bit of backstory of like, was the idea of having a platform like this there from the start, or was this something that came along the way? Yeah.
It was funny. I was looking back at our very first blog post on Mina, which was like beginning of 2018 when we first had a company and everything. And there was a paragraph in that, like, in the future, and then talked about all the programmability stuff. And, at the time, like, we were like, this is like really far out there. The technology's not ready yet. There's so much to do even before that. But yeah, it was there in the background. So I encourage people to look at that blog post. It was cool to see.
Very cool. Tell me a little bit about how, like, what defines sort of Mina protocol, also for those who may not be familiar with it, and what makes it unique, and also like how you think of it today.
Yeah, so this was Mina was founded by me and like co-founder, like close friend, Isaac Meckler. And we've been following crypto for a super long time, like since high school, since like really, really early. I did not buy any, but I was following it technically for a long time. In early 2017, we were both in the same place after a while and got back talking about crypto. And Mina started because we both were looking at where the crypto space was, and we were excited about the technology. We were excited about like the impact of it, but it seemed like there was something missing on like the scalability side in particular, as well as like just like getting it out to more users, particularly a very technical property around being able to efficiently verify the state of the chain without relying on any middlemen or any third parties. So we got very interested in thinking about that problem. How do we make it so everyone in the world could access cryptocurrency in like this trustless way? And that got us thinking eventually about zero knowledge proofs. Izzy was doing a PhD in Berkeley at the time in cryptography. and realizing zero knowledge proofs were this great solution to scaling this technology, so that you can make a proof of the whole chain, but then could go to browsers, go to phones, and be quickly verified. And that's where Mina started. Was we wanted to build out a chain that had this property of like a succinct blockchain that could be quickly verified. And that was what the first version of Mina that launched in 2021 was. Now we quickly realized, as I was mentioning, like very shortly after doing this, zero knowledge proofs actually offered way more than just the scalability property. That actually there were cool things about privacy. There were cool things about verifying large amounts of data, and it was just in general this really like good primitive for building all these different things. And from very early on, we were thinking about how do we kind of embed general purpose compute into Mina, so it has this property of being quickly verified everywhere, but also can bring full applications everywhere as well. And so when Mina launched originally, it was just payments, staking, that kind of stuff with the decentralization properties. But with the hard fork, we now actually have enabled this general purpose compute that we had been thinking about for so long, but now was actually possible.
Wow, that's amazing. I wanna now shift gear to like what this actually allows for. So I have questions. I mean, I was probably going to ask Brandon a little bit, but maybe I'll start with you, Evan. It's like, now that this is opened up, how do you see the way that people should be interfacing with the Mina world?
Yeah, I mean, and there's really three things I see, and really curious, Brandon, what you think as well on top of this. Like, for one, like, just this is unlocking, as I think we said, like general purpose, like zero knowledge as like kind of this next generation of zero knowledge systems. So you can build like privacy things, selective disclosure things, all these applications around zero knowledge proofs for general compute in production for the first time. So for example, things like a private voting application or a proof that you've been KYC'd or something about your identity are both things. So that's like one, like new applications. And this is like, previously when you had a public blockchain, you had to expose all of your data publicly on chain to use it. And so being able to have some data that's kept private is like, I think important that way that's not possible.
For sure.
So that's one. I think the next thing to mention is this property of like recursive zero knowledge proofs. And this is, as far as I know, also like pretty unique to Mina, which lets you have zero knowledge proofs verify other zero knowledge proofs as part of your application. Particularly one application I think is cool is that you can have these privacy things where users make proofs themselves, but you can then put them into a ZK rollup. So you kind of combine the extra privacy functionality with scalability properties. So you can build applications like a private voting app that works for like very, very large numbers of people. Like PunkPoll, one of the platforms building on Mina, is looking at targeting like very, very large numbers of proofs and users that could only be possible with combining those two together. So that's the other one, combining like scale and privacy and stuff. And the last thing I would mention is like doing all this in like a very decentralized environment. Like that was like, I think we don't want to build like a centralized platform. It's okay maybe for a little while to have it, but like you very quickly, I think, want to get to something that's actually decentralized and actually can like bring that to users. And so that's the third thing I mentioned is like combining all this with Mina's little proof. Yeah. And yeah.
Cool. All right. I want to open the floor to Brandon. I want to hear your thoughts on what this opens up.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I want to talk about the proof of everything that you've mentioned. But first, general ZK apps. What does this mean? What can people do?
Yeah.
And who's it for even?
Yeah. Okay. Well, we can start with that. So I think, well, okay, let me start with the other point. So the only thing I would add to Evan's point, it's something that I don't know if many people are aware of. I guess like people who are like really into ZK probably know this already, but there's this other interesting class of applications that's what we can call it, where like one thing, if we think about traditional blockchain applications, when your logic's running on chain, but also the state that your logic is manipulating has to be on chain. And I think like one really cool feature of Mina's platform is this idea that like the state that you're using in your application doesn't live on chain, doesn't have to. And this not only means that you can use, so this comes up in a lot of ways. Like you can use an oracle like in real time. So you don't have to have an oracle like posting data to chain and then reading the data later. Like you can just use it the moment that you want. But also you can compute on a lot of data that could never ever fit on chain in any world. And the results of the computation can be the smaller thing that you can put on chain. So this is like
proof of everything.
And yeah, and so I mean, everything connects to the proof of everything.
Okay.
So maybe we're transitioning into that. But I guess maybe we should answer your other question first. The audiences. Yeah, I think who should be building on Mina? Everyone.
It's actually who is it for? The question is because I wonder, like, I think when we talk about this stuff, it's like I'm assuming some people might be the end user, but they're still going to get the benefits of what has been built. But there is this intermediate user or person, actor, which is the developers who are going to build those things. So maybe just talk about how they each could interface, how they might maybe let's start from the developer side, and then we can talk about how an end user might even experience some of this.
Yeah. So on the developer side, the Mina platform is this like, and we'll get into it with proof of everything, but it's really this like entirely new paradigm of computing that's like so new and different and wild, and like this upgrade is just the first like giant leap towards this future where like new kinds of applications that we can't even imagine today are going to be created. So there's like that's attractive for a certain kind of developer. And then of course, like we also want to make an environment that's easy to build products. And we're working on that with all the tools. Probably like the closest right now, the thing that we're like pushing people towards today, if you want to build like a similar kind of EVM style application, or like typical blockchain application, is to use ProtoKit, which is an app chain framework for Mina, but it all ties into the proof of everything. But what that does is it provides this like familiar developer experience for devs on top of this like crazy new wild platform. And then for people who want to go deep into the platform, you go into O1.js, you can make changes to the protocol. And there's all this fun stuff. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So I guess for devs, they have two routes. They could work directly with the O1.js stack, or they could use ProtoKit.
Yeah.
Which is and would you say like starting point is it, which one is easier? Sounds like ProtoKit might be.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
But it depends. Easier for who? Easier for a product developer? Yes. If you're a cryptographer and you want to add like SecP something, then it's a different story. But yeah. So that's sort of and our documentation now sort of helps push you in those directions.
Got it.
And then so developers, you can build. There's like nice local testing environments. You can deploy to DevNet. You can deploy to mainnet now. But please,
be careful.
Audit your code. Get a third party audit. Be responsible. If especially if you're doing any financial things. But yeah, and then once an application is deployed, either to a testnet or to mainnet, end users can play around. And
Would
I'd
I,
say,
I
yeah,
want to ask about that. Like an end user, like so is it going to be is it through wallets, like Mina specific wallets, or do you also imagine it kind of just having like off like would it always sort of be like the MetaMask experience where you're like signing, or is it different?
I think it can be. I mean, it can be different.
Okay.
I think we're gonna have a little bit of both. And really, I mean, what's you know, what's the most exciting, I think, on the horizon. You know, we've learned our lesson with our specific date targets. But there's a team, Open Mina, that is like really close to having a full browser node working, and that plus uh, interacting with ZK apps means there's no wallet really, or rather your wallet is sort
Yeah,
of totally decentralized.
that's sort of what I
There's
was
no,
asking.
yeah,
Yeah, like for
yeah,
an end user, this is really opening up like a new way that you might just be interacting with a blockchain.
yeah, yeah.
That's really
Uh,
cool.
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, imagine like people don't even realize this today, I think. But when you use MetaMask or something like it on any chain, um, either you're like such a sophisticated user that you're running your own node in your basement and you've like configured MetaMask to point to that, um,
Or it's
or
all in Fura, right?
or it's in Fura, or
Yeah.
some centralized service, right? And then it's like if you're going through a centralized service, then like what are we even doing, you know? Um,
Mm, it's a very
so
clunky
yeah,
internet.
with this interface, it's like purely transparent, or rather, like no matter uh, how technically sophisticated you are, you still get the same like nice properties as anyone else who's using any applications.
That's cool. Okay, now let's talk this proof of everything because you've been saying it, but I don't fully understand it. So tell me, what is this?
Is this to me or to Evan?
I think it's more to you because like you're the one
Okay.
who said it more, no, right? Or Evan, did
I've
you
been
say
saying it
it?
a lot recently, but
No, no, go for it.
I think we're both saying it. Yeah. So
Okay, okay.
proof of everything. Isn't that a cool?
I like
Okay.
it.
First, we should talk about the history of this. I know this is like not the most important thing, but I think it's funny. Um, I was I was in Europe, like meeting up with some folks from Mina Foundation, and just like having a just like talking about how Mina works, and like I kept just like coming up with metaphors, um, and uh, and then like someone was recording this on video,
Oh, so the
and
okay, first use of proof of everything.
yeah, and then
Cool.
I didn't even remember that I said it, and like
Oh.
a few months later, it was like it came in to me, and I'm like, wow, this is a cool term. Like who came up with this? And they're like, Brandon, you came up with it. So
Okay, but what does it mean? What is
what
it?
does it mean? Okay,
Yeah.
so Mina, in like before this upgrade, what is it? It's like it's a single proof. It's a succinct chain that represents every transaction that's ever happened. And these, and up until the point of the upgrade, this is like payments and state delegations and things like this, like sort of network operations for the most part. And so it's a proof of all transactions, or all like
Mm.
payments and things. But now it's a proof of everything, because not only does this single proof represent all these sort of payments and things, but it includes any computation, and the and because that's what these like ZK apps are. Like we have this programmable mainnet. So
Yeah.
okay, so and like why do we care? So yeah, it's a thing. It's a proof of everything that has happened, which is cool. I mean, just conceptually, it's cool. I think.
Mm.
I claim, I guess.
On
That's
Mina.
one thing. On
Everything
Mina,
on
yeah.
Mina. But does it
Well,
go past like yeah, because I mean once I remember years ago talking about like the Oracle kind of ideas and like grabbing web
yeah.
stuff and
So
yeah.
right. So you can view. So now we're gonna get some like crazy
Oh.
psychedelic stuff, right? So like, you can view Mina as this proof of everything. But what does this proof of everything mean? It's you can view it as like a single computer program that's running, where anyone can participate. It's like a massive collaborative computation. So and like, I mean, I'm I'm just like being abstract here, but like I'm getting lost in myself.
I wonder if Evan, if you want to jump in and help here.
Jump me in.
No, I mean, I think it's like exactly what you're saying. Like, you have this like small zero knowledge proof that Mina is always kind of recursively updating that contains everything that's kind of ever been recursively verified into Mina. So you have this one little proof that says everything that's ever happened on Mina. And what's cool is that anyone can come along and add their own computation to that thing. And the proof can come. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you're about to say it, but yeah. So like, okay. Like the easy example is like you have an application on Mina and like users are interacting with it, and so like this application is executing on Mina. Great. That's cool. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with that, and we'll get into it more, right? But like someone can come along with a proof of Ethereum's consensus and like stick it in Mina, and then suddenly now Mina has like a full proof of all the things that happened in Ethereum.
Wow.
Right?
Or of a Web 2 app and like, no, go ahead. Yeah, we're saying the same stuff now.
Anyway, I was about to say that, but please.
Or of a Web 2 application, like taking all the state from like a website and also putting it into Mina as well.
Amazing. All right, I think we may have opened this up. Proof of everything. I think it starts to make sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's very cool because of this programmability within the system, because you can start to like bring that information in now. Before you weren't able, all you could do before was prove everything about Mina transactions recursively. But now, because you have this platform, there's going to be a lot more info. That's very exciting.
And I think and what's cool about this, like, okay, so we know that there's a lot of ZK networks being built right now, and we're the first one that launched on Mina, so that's great. And all these different protocols and projects are really cool, and they all have their own kind of like special places in the world, and like and there's some overlaps, sure, but like the one thing that's really unique about Mina is like we really truly have this one proof that is everything in the whole universe that has happened so far. And there's just like, well, there's lots of cool stuff you can do with that.
That's very cool.
Anyway, go ahead.
We should, by the way, you just said the first ZK protocol. I mean, we should give a small caveat. There are ZK EVMs that exist. Rollups exist. But
the first ZK program, like general purpose programmable system.
Exactly.
Let me put that way. Is that right, Anna?
That's how I understand it too. And I think for that, on a large scale, this is the first time that we see it on mainnet.
All the ZK EVM stuff is really cool. Zcash is amazing. We can't forget about Zcash.
Yeah,
like they're an amazing project. There's lots of great projects. But yeah, the general purpose programmable network.
Very cool.
Great.
So now I want to actually add a few more folks to our chat. We're going to talk a little bit about community and everything that helped, like the way that this happened. So I'm going to invite John. Hello. How are you doing?
Hi, Anna. Thanks. Hi, everyone.
Hey. So yeah, I think we just wanted to hear from you a little bit, like what was the role of community in this upgrade and just general other ecosystem participants? What was it like kind of working with all of them? Who are the players that help make this happen?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, without the community, there would be no upgrade and there would be no Mina. So I mean, they were essential. And how was it? I like what Brandon said about being a bit crazy. I know everyone's heard of like an ultra marathon. For the community team, it was kind of like a ultra sprint for months. And for the community, I think it was a set of different kind of events. We had 3 large test nets that we did. The first one was back last year, and it had 250 members, but we had over 3,300 applicants to that. And that went really successfully. And the community played an amazing role in that. So with these kind of things, especially test nets, things happen. We try and break things on purpose so we can fix them before they reach mainnet. And we did that, and we asked the participants in that testnet to extend for another month, and the reaction we got was just phenomenal. Like it was like over 98% of the people said that they would stay on over the Christmas holidays, and over New Year's and that, and they did that. So without those kind of contributions from the members, I mean, it wouldn't have happened when it did. It would have taken much longer. And the next testnet we had was a much smaller one where we hard forked the testnet, and that went so well. And to see the members in there, helping each other out, and the enthusiasm and excitement for what's going on was just, it's kind of gives you the energy to go on, And then we had the upgrade of the DevNet testnet, which kind of simulates the mainnet, in that it's got a long history and a large number of transactions on there. And that was open to anyone who wanted to run a node there. And that also went. And all through these things, there were exciting times where we found things to fix, and we fixed them. The engineering team did. And that kind of collaboration is just unbelievable for me. And during all these times too, members would create guides to help others how to set up their nodes on testnet. They created tooling, even for the mainnet upgrade we just had. One of the members created a countdown timer and things like this. To give like something that really struck me, to really illustrate what the community is like. In Mina, we have something called an archive node. And these are a little bit more complex than a regular node. And the fairly experienced operators use this, and they're used for things like explorers or wallets, exchanges make use of them as well. And it's a fairly complicated process. And I saw during the mainnet upgrade, one of the operators there was having some questions, and all the other members that are running these archive nodes, I won't mention names, but I'm sure you could guess who they are, but they all got together and helped this person out so they could get their node up. And some of them are running similar services, that for me is like the spirit of the Mina community, and it makes it a little bit different than some other places I've been there because it's so widespread.
Well, thanks so much for that insight. I'm just going to share, we can do this. Here's a little comment that you guys just posted in our chat. I'm just going to hide that after this. I think I wanted to invite Becky. So by the way, from now on, the screen is just going to get fuller and fuller of people until we wrap up. So we're all going to get smaller. But Becky, I think we were going to add you to the stage now. Hello. Because you had actually like something that we could actually do right now with the community. So maybe
yes, I do. I do. So the team has actually prepared a swag box. So it's a bunch of different merch that is kind of going to mark the Berkeley upgrade. And we have one box to give away to one of the viewers today. All you need to do is answer 3 questions related to the upgrade. So you can answer either in the chat on YouTube or on X, any of the platforms that we're streaming through. So I'll read out the 3 questions and 3 potential answers and drop your answers in the chat. And either Mackie or myself will reach out after the call today to let you know if you've won or not. So the first question is, at which slot number was the stop transaction slot reached, officially commencing the mainnet upgrade process? So option 1 is 564,180. Option 2 is 564,280. And option 3 is 564,385. So I'll repeat those. I can actually drop these in the chat afterwards if anyone missed the questions. The second question is, what was the number assigned to the Mina mainnet Berkeley release? So option 1 is 2.0.0, option 2 is 2.5.0, and option 3 is 3.0.0. And then finally, the third question is, name the 3 numbers of the Mina improvement proposals included in this upgrade. So we have option 1, 1, 3, and 4, option 2, 1, 2, and 3, option 3, 1, 2, and 5. And Evan, Brandon, and John, you can't answer these questions. you're excluded from the prize. But that's all the questions we have. So yeah, if you answer in the chat, I'll drop I think Mackie's already dropped the questions in there. So if you have the answer,
Perfect.
let us know and we'll reach out. Thanks, Anna.
Hilarious. Very cool. Yes. Well, good luck to everyone who's doing that. I think we should ask a question now. What's next for Mina? We've now done this upgrade. What can we now do? What can we now expect? This is to all of you, actually.
I can start. I mean, over the next few months, like more and more applications launching and activity around proofs and users and things happening using ZK in production live with applications. So I'm excited about that we actually can do now. There's a lot of applications between identity, voting, and just other augments to crypto that like I'm just really excited about. So I think just like, people got to get audited like and stuff. So it's like going to be like a ramp, but over the next few months, that's starting to take off as a thing.
And I'll jump in, may I?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then I mean the other thing is I mentioned this before, but this is like a brand new like way of computing that the world hasn't seen before. So like there's still a lot of work to do to help define like how can we like tap into this new primitive together. So like if that sounds exciting to you, please join us and help us shape this crazy new thing.
What about John, Becky, community side of things? What's next? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot a bit. I don't know if you had time to think about what's next. But
I think it's going to be a very exciting time. Like it's what people will build, given the tools that are available now. I have no idea what it could be, and I don't know if many people do. What can come out of this? For me, it's like I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. I know it's going to be a fairly exciting time, so really looking forward to that. And there's different kind of people in the community, of course. So, depending on what they're doing, if they're like a ZK app developer or a node operator or someone who's just interested in the project in general, I think it is going to be fairly exciting for them. I love to see a lot of connectivity between those different groups in the community, and between other partners as well. It might be the case where, just a person who's not that technical like myself comes up with an idea. I wonder if I can do this with this technology that's available to me now, and then getting people together and actually building from that. So that's a pretty exciting thing for me. And I think a lot of people who came into blockchain early on, it's an exciting time. What can be done with this? And I get that same feeling now.
Nice. Becky, do you have any ideas of what's next?
Yeah, it's an exciting time for everyone, I think. I know the past few months and probably a few years have been super busy for Mina and the Mina ecosystem as a whole. I know at Mina Foundation, there's a bunch of different initiatives that we're starting to see a lot of progress on as well. We have ZK Ignite, we have Navigators, which are both have upcoming milestones and fun things for people to get involved in. Evan and the team are also working on a bunch of governance initiatives. We have stuff happening in Discord all the time. So if anyone wants to get involved, join the Discord server. That's probably the best place to start. You can kind of get familiarized with different programs and different initiatives, and just hear about what's going on in the ecosystem. But yeah, it's exciting times for everyone.
Fantastic. I'm going to just bring Agni from our side to the stage because I think we're getting close to the wrap up on this event. Hey, Agni.
Hello.
I think we wanted, I think the last thing I had asked was how to get involved, but Becky, I think you just covered that quite well. Is there any other ways that people should get involved in case you missed anything before we sign off? And this is to anyone here, actually.
If I could add, like, to me, it kind of feels a lot like when we actually first started the project back in 2017, like 2018, like there's like a lot of new possibilities, and a lot of new territory to explore. And now it's like possible to go and do that. So it's a good time to like start playing with a lot of this new new technology, both like for building like kind of, I mean, it's all kind of new, but like classical, but like still like brand new, like next generation ZK things, as well as like this whole new programming model that Mina has. So that's what I would add.
Nice. I know that there's some folks in the background who kind of help make this happen who aren't here on the screen too. So just throw a shout out to Mackie. Also to all the folks that have worked on Mina over the years, like Izzy you mentioned, and Emre. So I want to say, I mean, having worked with the group over the years to get here, it's really quite a feat. Congrats to everyone. I kind of want to cheers. This is what I feel like we should do. And I know it's like a week later, but cheers everyone to an amazing upgrade, to making this happen so incredibly smoothly. And it's been really wonderful to watch. And yeah, congrats. And to everyone who's watching out there, keep an eye on this. If you're a developer, jump in. If you already know how to build stuff, now you can build it on mainnet. But like Brendan said, be careful, get it audited. It's real time now. So yeah, very good. Thanks everyone. Cheers.